Welcome back to Charging Stack, where we sit down with the people reshaping how the cities move. Today, we are digitally in France with Jean-Philippe Banquet, co-founder and the CEO of E-ROE, a company building fully electric, fully European light electric vehicle for everyday life. Designed for short trips, 0 to 15 kilometers. So whether you're commuting, running errands, or even picking up IKEA furniture across urban, suburban, and rural areas, E-ROE is aiming to make electric mobility affordable, stylish, and fun to drive. And as we said, built entirely in Europe with ambitions to reach profitability within 24 months and produce their first 100 vehicles in 2027. Jean-Philippe, it's great to have you with us.
Thanks, Marin and Philip, for hosting me, and hi to everyone.
It's great to have you likewise. I wanted to, just start by you telling us the story, how it all started, your background. So can you just tell us how, what sparked the initial idea for starting your company, E-ROE?
Yeah, sure. I used to work actually on very exciting projects such as electric supercar, autonomous shuttles, flying taxis. It was around France, Belgium, Germany, Spain, so with many different colleagues. But no one of them was really answering the issues of the most significant part of our journeys, meaning our daily commutes that are responsible for a huge part of our CO2 emissions. And also, it's a huge time we spend to travel on these daily commutes. So this idea began right during these projects, 2019, I wanted to look for a most simple and mobility for our daily travels. And now, 18 months ago, so 2024, I co-founded E-ROE with Clément, my partner, to make sustainable mobility an obvious choice for our million of short journeys.
Awesome, awesome. We will provide a lot of photos of your product. It's looking really interesting, really, really cool. We are very excited for all the things to come for you. You mentioned the original plan. It was an interesting in the conversation we had prior to the interview that the original plan was to name each vehicle after superheroes, which is interesting to me. Where did that idea came from? Any Marvel fans and DC fans in the company?
When you start a company, you already have to think about a first thing that is very important. It's the name of the company that will also be used in many different aspects and also in marketing. And one thing was very sure since the very beginning is that marketing will be a very important part in our company.
Absolutely.
Technology, of course, but marketing is at least as much important. That's why we wanted a short name that is starting with an E for electric, yes, and that is easy to remember, and and also that is free to use. That is also an important aspect that we sometimes forget. And we came to E-ROE because we aim to make everyone riding our vehicles a superhero, thanks to the image it is giving and to the exciting driving feelings. And yes, you said it. One of the first goals was to give a superhero name to each vehicle, but we changed that because it doesn't sound that good finally. So, but still, it can be a potential for a marketing team in the next years to use it as it feels, as it want to use it.
I would like that. It kind of sounds interesting. I know, initially potentially was like, oh my God, this is the best idea ever. But then when you think about it furthermore, maybe we should stick to something more traditional.
Something classic.
As you said, a lot of picking up names, marketing is a huge thing. There's a lot of brands similar-ish to E-ROE. It's a market that's growing. A lot of brands, a lot to compete with. So definitely, your product looks super unique. We're going to talk about design later, but definitely marketing is something that's really important for you. Definitely, I can understand that, and with the people we talked about before from this part of the industry. So before founding E-ROE, you spent, as you said, years working in the mobility industry. What would you say? What experiences or what exact projects or something you picked up from each project shaped you, the way you approach your company and the skills you're applying right now?
Yes, mobility industry is very passionating industry, because you actually are building something that is providing freedom to half of the planet, I would say, or even more, and that freedom can be done in a lot of different manner. And when you are inside this industry, you also see everything that is behind, and you see that yeah, for safety, legislation are becoming more and more strict, what is good, of course, for long distances and for fast going distances also, So cars are becoming more and more shaped for these safe long distances. But actually, these long distances are only representing 5 to 6 times per year. What makes that our car becomes an oversized car for 95% of the time. What is quite shocking when you see all the problems we actually have with energy costs, resources, and so on and so on. That's why
Hmm.
we wanted to build some new shapes and some new kind of mobilities that is still fun to drive, and still providing freedom, but simpler, simpler to build, simpler to maintain, and simpler to use. I so was very lastly head of production and industry relations so I had to manage people, I had to manage machines, and cost and quality, and I was directly involved sometimes in solving industrialization problems or customer problems where something wasn't right. And actually the best solution was always the simplest. And that's what I've learned of that, and what we really want to reproduce on our products.
Yes, and I can definitely see what you're saying, applying simple solution. I can definitely see that in E-ROE and in your products in general. They're simple, they're unique, and they just, they fit everyday needs of someone who needs, as we said, to do those smaller, shorter commutes, 0 to 15 kilometers, and also look stylish and also look cool.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I mean, every time somebody from micromobility or urban mobility, however we want to call it, is on our show, we definitely have to mention, the trend that is happening right now in Europe with, I don't know in Europe, but in the world with the big, large EVs, especially those SUVs, 2.5 tons, attacking our cities, and they just don't make sense. So definitely a gap in the market is there. I just wanted to ask you about your views on the current state of the market. You're currently positioned only in France. You're living in and producing in France. So, what is your experience with the current mobility trends and how everything is developing in that aspect?
So we are positioned in France, but we are really building up this company as a European company, since the European market is actually one of the most promising
Mhm.
markets in this kind of mobility. Asia, this market is already there with K cars, with tuk-tuks, and so on and so on. And USA, you can see some kind of light vehicles in the very dense city centers, But still, the country is very big and has a lot of big and huge distances. So Europe is actually the most promising market, and I feel quite lucky to be in France, because France is part of these countries in Europe where this mobility is easily accepted. And we see
Mhm.
that also with Renault, that started very early with the Renault Twizy, that is also a small and light vehicle, So also the experienced manufacturer tried to put this kind of mobility. Citroën did that with a bit more success. We just learned that Renault stopped his Mobilize project in program, so that's a bit sad. But so the market is evolving a lot. I think it is hard for the established manufacturer to build this kind of mobility, because they have the manufacturing lines and the battery capabilities of millions of units, and you have to start with small units. That's because it's also a new kind of mobility, and people have to accept this new kind of
Mm-hmm.
mobility also. And I think for a giant such as Renault, such as actually also all the German manufacturers we can speak of, it is hard, I think, to do that in a cost effective manner, and also to do that very fast. That's why actually we feel quite lucky to be able to start from scratch. So that allows us to be quite efficient and to build up all the milestones very efficiently, so that we are capable of scaling also very fast. Yes, and one problem of these EVs, you talked about SUVs, they're super heavy, and you need a big battery to move the super heavy SUV. Batteries of SUVs are about 400 kilos. That's 4 times the weight of our vehicle, and that's
Mm-hmm.
a lot. And because you have that big vehicles, you also need all the security, active security infrastructure, and all that costs a lot. And we want to remove all that, because actually we're not going that fast. Depending on the type of vehicle you're driving. You're driving such as a bicycle, 25 kilometers per hour or 45 kilometers per hour. It's not that fast. You don't need that much security, but you also don't need that much battery. What
Mm-hmm.
makes all the costs being much smaller? Our battery is 12 kilogram heavy. 12 kilogram is 10 times less than even more, 40 times less than what you can find in our Tesla Model 3, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we want to reduce the purchasing costs, but also the operating costs for daily mobility. That is actually the most represented in our lives.
Yeah, it's like I'm not thinking in my head, you're building small, an actual small vehicle. You are producing small, but you are developing fast, and everything
Exactly.
is moving
Yes.
faster. So yeah, you're definitely your advantage.
Yeah, now when you were mentioning those 2.5-ton SUVs, one thing we discussed in one of our earlier episodes was the tire dust. So the heavier the vehicle is, the more tire dust there is on the street, and it gets inhaled, it gets mixed with all the air we breathe in. So yeah, that's also one of the concerns, definitely. I mean, when you
Yeah.
build a vehicle that's 400 kilograms and that's 2,400 kilograms, there is some payoff. There is some payoff. So
Sure.
some trade-off, that is. Uh, I'd like to ask you a bit more about the vehicle itself. So let's say I'm walking down the street and I just stumble upon your vehicle for the first time. Um, how would you describe it to me in one sentence, in a sentence or two? What would be the main selling point for the vehicle?
At E-ROE, we will build a lot of different types of light electric vehicle. But the first model that we are bringing out and industrializing currently is nothing else than an e-bike. So that's what we are saying, because it is, from the regulatory point of view, an e-bike. Even if it looks like a car, it is an e-bike because it has pedals. It has a pedal assistant, an electric pedal assistant until 25 kilometers per hour. So it has all the advantages of the e-bike. It doesn't need any license. It doesn't need any insurance. It is extremely simple to maintain. It is even simpler and cheaper to maintain than a normal cargo e-bike, because we are using some technologies that makes all the mechanical wear out disappear, or just less to used. For example, we don't have any chain anymore. That means it is a wide transmission. It is electrically. So on the pedals, we have a generator. It is generating electricity. It's charging the battery, and then providing the battery to the rear wheels. It is a two-wheeled vehicle with a two-wheel drive. We're also working on a four-wheel drive, but it's a two-wheel drive vehicle. So it can also recover the energy when you brake. That means you don't even wear out the brake pads. So the maintenance is very, very low. And this e-bike has also a roof. So it's very stable because of the four wheels, but it has also a roof so that you can use it 365 days a year. So really our goal is to make this cycling normal every day a year. And I think it depends a lot of the culture. You have Netherlands, they have don't have an issue to drive when it's cold and when it's rainy. But in France or other countries, culturally, you need to be protected, else you don't use your bicycle. And actually, my grandma also needs to be protected when she wants to go out. She just doesn't use any bicycle anymore. So it's a bicycle, an e-bike.
So basically, what you described is a bicycle with all the pros of an e-bike, but without all the cons of an e-bike. Okay.
Exactly. What we sometimes say, we took the best of the e-bike and used also some good parts of the car and put that in one vehicle, and you really feel it like that when you go on our YouTube channel and check one of the videos. That's what our the drivers that already use the car are really saying. I don't know if it's a car or it's a bicycle, but actually I feel good in there, and it's easy to use.
So just to ask, which category is this? So that's an L category vehicle, right?
No,
No.
it's an e-bike category, so it's EPAC, electric pedal assisted vehicle. So it's a specific category that doesn't need any license plate, insurance, or a driver license. But you're right talking about L category, because this same chassis, we will propose it also in the L6 category in the second time. We first want to prove the market is there with our 25 km per hour category that we can bring very fast to the market, and then we're gonna bring out the L6 that is nothing else than the EPAC category, but with a motor that is not electronically restricted.
Yeah, that's just where I was going with this, and you gave a perfect answer. So it's not even in the L category, yet it looks like a L6 category vehicle. So it's affordable, but really looks good. No one would say. I mean, if I would stumble upon it, I'd never say it's just a bike. It doesn't look like a bike. So my question would be, what kind of design choices help you balance the cost of parts, the style of the vehicle, the practicality of the vehicle, and what were some main design choices here?
I think I was discussing that with Mariners already last time, but personally, I love neo-retro and designs, a bit of modern and a bit of past, And Renault understood that also very well with the last Renault 5 that came out. And actually, Volkswagen did that also with the Beetle and with the Volkswagen T6, T7, and the last one that is electric. And we
ID
wanted to
Buzz.
use the
Yeah.
same sauce, So have a kind of retro design, but with modern touches such as LEDs in the front and the rear that makes the vehicle very visible, and also give the own signature that we will put on every of our upcoming models, so that we know, okay, this vehicle is an E-ROE. And it can be a one-seated, a two-seated, a big one. Every E-ROE gonna have front and rear equivalent design. And what we wanted also is to make it very easily personalizable. That means you can choose the color you want, whatever you want. I think that's the part of the philosophy of Microlino also. We use that, and we have our own secret sauce to make it without too high costs. What means the vehicle stays affordable, whatever the color you choose. So it's really, we try to make the best compromise between industry and design. So, and I hope we succeed, and we will continue to succeed in that, because that is the secret to make this kind of new mobility that at the beginning not very desirable maybe, but that will make this new mobility normal and daily used.
So now when we're talking about this new mobility, there are some everyday tasks we have to go through every day. For example, if we live in a city, there's a high chance that we'll have to go somewhere, maybe to the bank, maybe to the grocery store, maybe to the postal office or something like that. So are those the tasks you're optimizing your vehicle for, or is this something that's going to be maybe used more in fleets or for personal use?
It's a very good question. It could be the same for the bigger vans that are sold by a Daimler with with the Sprinter, or by a Renault with the Renault Master, and so on and so on. Actually, we designed the chassis to be as adaptable as possible to every daily use case. And when we say every daily use case, it is, as you said in the interaction, between 0 and 15 kilometers. It is an indication, but it can be 20 also, of course. And the range is up to 120. So it's not about the range, it's really about the type of distance you have to do. So our chassis can as well be a passenger chassis, so accept a second passenger at the rear, or two children. And we also have a cargo version. You can see it on our websites with different boxes on the rear. And you can pack quite many different high volumes in a very tiny space, because our vehicle has still the footprint of a normal two-wheeled cargo cycle like the Urban Arrow. And still we can carry up to 600 or 1,000 liters, depending on the version you choose. So what we are targeting first, we don't want to sell to customer directly, because it is still a bit early for direct customers of a B2C. And people don't know that. And they first have to test it, try it. And how do we do that? You said it, with sharing. So we propose that to companies that are sharing cars today, but we propose a much lower TCO, total cost of ownership, than a car, with a vehicle that is a bicycle that doesn't need any insurance, any license. So all the complexity of that checking for every user is removed, and you still have a kind of vehicle that everyone can drive, and that is fun to use, and also, yes, a bit good looking, and so weird looking also, you can say. So people will like to drive it also. And you have to test it in the city jam, or on cycle lane. It's really amazing how you feel free, because you can really move wherever you want and park where you want. Still, you have to and be aware of where you park. You don't have to. You have to respect all the rules, of course. But you feel really free, and so that can be done with the sharing. So that's more for the passenger version, that's for the transport. And then, actually, as you said in the introduction, also we could imagine an IKEA or another big mall proposing also that kind of vehicle shared for city inhabitants that don't own any car, that are cycling every day with their bicycle, but they need to buy a furniture, to buy a bigger stuff for Christmas party or something like that. So they can rent the car for the vehicle, the bicycle, for 1 or 2 euros, and bring everything back to home, and then bring it back to the mall, and then go back with the bicycle. So that is the use case we can imagine. And then, of course, you have all the delivery industry that is really full of a lot of players today. And of course, our vehicle can do this delivery, food delivery, and so on. But there are so many players that we won't focus at first on that market, even if we will be able to propose solution, and very good and robust solution with a high power, so that you don't have to lose any time or money on other solutions that are not that adapted.
Yeah, and also
Let me
sorry, I just wanted to add a small comment. I think that the fact that it's enclosed, it protects you from all the weather, from the snow, from rain. I think that's the maybe not the biggest, but one of the biggest factors for someone who, for example, if I need to go somewhere that's 8 kilometers away,
Sure.
and I don't need to drive, I don't want to walk 8 kilometers while it's raining. If I hop in E-ROE, I'm protected. I mean, it's something similar to this. We just talked to a founder from Milan,
Mhm.
from company Scooter. So Scooter is, I mean, it's super cool. It's not in your category though. It's an L category vehicle, but
Yes.
they are going for maybe the same how to say it, same look, same feel when
Yes,
you
yes,
ride. You're enclosed. You don't need a helmet, and you can sleep through the alleyways and navigate the city.
yes,
And
yes,
it's
yes.
also for short trips. So I see there's a huge market for this, and
Sure.
it looks really cool. It's so amazing that it's not an L category vehicle. I think this is your biggest advantage here. Marin, I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, no worries. Yeah, I definitely agree. It's super interesting how you attack that category without going like, let's say, more research route, how others did. You kind of did it differently. I want to say I definitely needed something like E-ROE 2 weeks ago when I was picking my IKEA order, and it was horrible because putting all the stuff in a small EV was not fun, and it was also raining, so everything kind of came together. Bad for me. Can we talk pricing, Jean-Philippe? I wanted to mention that because I think it's definitely something that's super important for this sector. We people need to know the prices because a lot of these products they do approach it with, okay, we are affordable, but are you really? Um, so what is your pricing strategy currently? How are you approaching this? Which segments of the market are you attacking? What is your perfect customer, let's say?
The the um, the pricing is not field and perspective the same for a B2C customer or for a B2B customer. The B2B customer will more look on the TCO I spoke about before, the total cost of ownership, and there is no question we are by far better than a car, 4 times better that has been calculated on a range of 100,000 kilometers. And when you speak to a directly to the private customer, the purchasing price is really important. And if it doesn't have to purchase it, it has to be able to lease it. So our strategy at E-ROE is, as I said, we start first with business consumers because first they are more it is more easy for them to adopt a new technology or a new behavior as soon as they have other advantages such as costs, such as seamlessness. It's easy to park, it's easy to maintain, and so on and so on. And once it's like cars, many cars are sold new to companies because actually the companies are purchasing and leasing new cars, and that's how we want to do also with company fleets, with everywhere where you need to go in narrow tiny spaces, or to on a campus, for example, you need to go from A to B, and so they will also be more ready to spend a bit more money at the purchasing for better convenience later on. So that's the time we get enough volume, because industry is volume. And with purchasing volumes, higher purchasing volumes for us, we need to purchase the batteries, we need to purchase the motors, and so on and so on. I purchase one, I get it for a lot of money. I purchase 1,000, it's you reduce the price by 1,000 euros sometimes on the whole price of the vehicle. That's why a private customer would be ready, I think, to buy this kind of vehicle when the prices start at 7,000 euros, a bit like a good cargo e-bike today, always compared to the German urban arrow. And pros are more ready to pay a bit more, around between 9 to 10, 12,000, depending on what you can really bring to them with simplicity, comfort, and modularity. So we're gonna start at E-ROE at 9,400 and reduce as soon as we can, step by step, the prices when we also reach the right volumes.
Okay, so you said you mentioned 7,000 euros. Is that a price that kind of unlocks mass market adoption, in your opinion, for this segment or in general for light electric vehicles in Europe?
Depending on the market analysis we did since 2019, we think it's around that amount, 6 to 7. Of course, the cheaper it is, the best it is for the customer. But we think that amount will start to unlock, as you said, this mass market adoption, because today, a good e-bike is around 2,000, 2,500 euros. A good cargo bike starts at 5,000. And now you explain, you bring 2 wheels more. That means stability. You bring a roofing. You bring protection. And then once you purchase the vehicle, it has really no maintenance except the wheels and the rims. I mean, I think that could unlock the market and make many people ready to purchase it private customer to purchase it as a second car, for example. I removed the second car from home that I privately use every 3 weeks, one time, because that's not a lot, that's not enough. My private car is shaped for 4 people, and to drive 500 kilometers, that's too much. I think so. The right mobility for the second vehicle can be this kind of e-bike. Quadricycle.
Yes, absolutely. And we also heard that from your other people from the industry. But what is interesting to me is you were the first one being, I would say, transparent and actually being under 10,000 euros, which I think it's a bracket. It's a visually, if you're
Sure.
under 10,000 euros, it is a big
Sure.
thing. Definitely
That's
for,
why
as we said, branding and marketing.
Yeah.
So,
It's really
and you
important.
also mentioned, so would you say, when you think about something being affordable or ready for mass adoption, what matters more, entry price, running costs, or let's say repairability?
That really, again, depends on the end customer. Entry price will be for the B2C segment, you, me, when you want to purchase some groceries, and B2B will be more about all the running costs, and it has a budget for mobility, so the business owner, and if he purchases it 1,000 euros more, 2,000 euros more, but after 3 years it is by far cheaper and paid, and actually it doesn't cost anything anymore, then he will choose, of course, the most expensive to purchase, but then the cheapest to maintain. So it really depends on the target customer at the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I feel you.
and I'd like to maybe kickstart another topic, but it's really tied to this one, the manufacturing. So we've talked to a few founders who are doing something similar, and when we talk manufacturing with them, they're always talking about microfactories and how they can spawn them all over the world and just build locally. How does it look for you? So what does the production line look today? And are you planning to automate something to maybe, scale, duplicate? Give us some
Yes,
info.
very good question. Actually, manufacturing is the most important question, because manufacturing is everywhere. You are sitting on a chair, it has been manufactured. Your screen, your camera has been manufactured. Everything is manufacturing. So everything starts with that. Actually, designing a product is not complicated, I would say. Okay, you have to find the right design, you have to do it once, but it's not a problem. You can do it. But making this product manufacturable at hundreds, thousands, 10,000 units, that's the biggest challenge. I'm from the industry. I'm coming from the industry. I leaded several factories. I transformed these factories also with robots, with automation, and so on and so on. And I love that. So, and I think that with the right mindset, you can keep manufacturing an industry in Europe, even if it's really hard, not easy. And you can also make manufacturing ecological, because actually, why are we polluting as a human being? Because we are producing objects and we are producing them in a certain way. And if you manage that, to produce it in a certain way, you can repair it very easily and also dismantle it very easily to make a new product or to recycle the parts. You can so reduce the costs, the ecological costs, but also the real financial costs of the end vehicle. For example, at E-ROE, we aim to repurchase the chassis and the vehicles at the end of their life, because they have some value for us, because we're able to dismantle them and to create a new E-ROE with the same chassis and with new parts that have been worn out or damaged. And that's how one of the part how we will be able to reduce the cost. It is with remanufacturing, and of course, all the vehicle that is one a specific thing of us. We have designed the very first sketches already by thinking and by designing what machine gonna produce what part at what cost and with how many human intervenience. And so we are able right now to industrialize very fast our vehicle and also to do it at very contained costs. And this philosophy with high volumes gonna make us possible to really have one of the cheapest vehicle, but still very high quality and very good looking, because that we all put that since the very beginning.
Yeah, to me, this sounds like you're really keeping all your financial losses in check. So, when someone buys a vehicle and let's say some years go on, 5, 6 years, they return
Exactly.
the vehicle, you recycle the vehicle, and you
We
make a new.
don't recycle the vehicle.
Okay,
If you recycle,
I added
you lost.
I need to add the quotation marks, quote unquote, recycle the vehicle
You
and
remanufacture the vehicle. Recycling is
remanufacture.
molding the aluminum. It is starting from scratch again, and that's a lot of energy also. You have to do it, but at the very last point. So it's
So
really you remanufacture the vehicle. That's even cheaper and
is
even more interesting ecologically.
so that's one of the
Awesome.
things that's gonna help you reach profitability in the next 24 months,
Exactly.
or
This part is not going to help us to reach profitability in the 48 months. We need more time. You spoke about
course.
5 years. We are
Yeah.
thinking about life cycles, about 5 to 6 years in shared mobility and in fleets. That's actually the same as in a car. So after 5 years, we will be able to repurchase the first chassis. So we need these 5 years, and then we will be able to do a huge gap again. But the first gap to profitability in 48 months, it is thanks to very local and strategic partner we have here, and to a most possible automated production. And you spoke about microfactories. It's a trend. It's a trend word, I would say, but it's somehow Kia, I think, started a microfactory in Shanghai or Hong Kong, if I remember well. So it's a really big car manufacturer. And I started to test this kind of production that is fully automated and in small factories. So that is things shows that also huge manufacturers are looking at that. But I think the closest you are from your partners, industrial partners, and to the assembly line, the closer it is from the different partners and from the end customers, the least cost you have also. And that's why we designed our vehicle also without any mold. What is mostly very costly in a vehicle or in a product in general in industry, it's the mold when you have to do plastic injections or aluminum injections. We decided it's a quite challenge, but we reached to do everything without any mold. That means we can really quite fast just have to find the right partners and the right ecosystem in each country, put everyone together, re-industrialize a bit. That means show the vehicle, the plan, the blueprints, and so on, and start a new factory from scratch quite fast, because you don't need to replicate the molds and all the costly parts. That's really the philosophy and how we want actually be able to spread out the assembly of our vehicles more and more the closer possible to the customer, meaning maybe also to the big cities where the majority of the customer will be.
So the goal from what I gather, so the goal for 2027 is 100 vehicles,
Yes.
but the way you describe this is something that can scale to thousands, to tens of thousands.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
what let's talk about 100 vehicles first, because that's something you've planned for the next 2 years. So what needs to go right between now and 2027 for this to be true, for this to be live?
I think you've heard it already. Hardware is hard and
Yeah,
needs a lot of money.
that is hard. Yeah.
We don't need just just a server and just a computer to program something. We will need it, but we will even need more, meaning space to produce, to assemble. That's what we have already in our small factory where we are today, and a lot of money, because industrializing costs a lot. It's an investment, and this investment then can be amortized with the units you sell afterwards. So the very important is fundraising. So we are currently starting a fundraising round to finance the pre-industrialization of our vehicles. So our goal is to sell 15 to produce 15 vehicles, to sell 10 of them next year, 2026, and to keep 5 of them to be able to rent them to our future customer, so they can test it, and once they test it, they can also buy it more easily. So until the 100 units, we have this fundraising that is a really important round, and the production of 15 vehicles.
Okay, so for all the guests and investors watching, so E-ROE is currently in fundraising. So guys, please contact Jean-Philippe and let's do some deals.
Let's
With
go.
pleasure.
Let's raise some money.
I'm very active on LinkedIn, so don't hesitate.
Absolutely. We'll send everybody your way.
Thanks.
As you said, as we know, you are a gearhead, a petrol head. You are a car guy. You come from the industry. I'm curious about the driving experience of E-ROE. How does it feel to drive? I'm sure you added some quirks that it's still fun. So just
Um,
walk us through a bit.
so what we're usually doing when someone is sitting for the first time in the E-ROE, we don't say anything. We want them to learn alone how they would do it. They only know it's a bicycle. So actually, it's quite interesting, because in 2 to 3 minutes, the people that didn't know the vehicle before know manage the vehicle, because everyone has ridden a bicycle, even if it has been 20 years ago. So you know that you have to pedal to go forward, and you want to go backwards. Sometimes backwards it's weird for a bicycle, but people think, okay, maybe I have to pedal backwards, and yes, it works. So people are pedaling backwards, and then they go backwards. And if you want to brake, you brake like on a bicycle, and actually it's done. So you manage to drive this vehicle, and a very important thing is the power. Many people or customer of competitor of us have been disappointed of the feeling, because as soon as the vehicle was loaded a bit or had to climb a high slope, it wasn't powerful anymore and had to reduce speed, and that is a high frustration for everyone, I think. Actually, for me and for many other people. So we put a lot of torque into these vehicles with 2-wheel drives on the back, and that makes it very fun to drive, because you at the right light, you go in front of everyone others. You just have to pedal, give a little bit pedal torque, and then it goes. It goes very fast. Okay, until 25 kilometers per hour, but it starts very fast. And that makes it quite fun. The center of gravity of the vehicle is quite low, also with the batteries that are very put on very low, like on electric vehicles. That makes it even more fun to ride and very stable.
So it's quite zippy. So the first 20 meters, you're the king.
Exactly. But
And that's
actually, you're
awesome.
the
But
king.
you don't have to be fast. You don't have to have a big top speed to have fun. That's a
No,
huge misconception.
sure, sure.
I think I had
Acceleration. Acceleration is the
yes.
best.
So yeah, absolutely, and agility and everything else that comes
Exactly.
that comes with it. So yeah, definitely, me and Philip would love to test drive one day.
You're welcome.
We say it all the time, but it's like
You're always
because we
welcome.
see so many cool vehicles that can be really interesting
Yeah, I mean,
and cool for
at
us to
this
drive.
point, we've talked to so many French founders who are in
Yeah.
mobility and creating vehicles like yours, and not like yours, but uh, we'd love to do a tour in France next year. We'll be in Lyon in February, so we'll try to
Yes.
do maybe a French tour to visit
Sure.
everyone we've met, and
Let me know about your agenda, and we will organize something.
We will, of course.
The
Of course.
French ecosystem is very active, so actually, if you come to France, you can test a lot of different things.
I hope.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm booking currently. My tab here is booking.com. So we'll figure something out. I wanted to ask you about early adoption. We did kind of touch base on that, but who is in your head, an early adopter for E-ROE that can happen tomorrow, in 2 weeks? City commuters, young drivers, someone who's downsizing the household, the fleet. There's many options, but who is the first one who comes to your mind?
As I said before, we are really targeting first B2B businesses because they are the early adopters. They are always keen to test something new since they know it can be easier for their employees, or it can be cheaper also for their finances, and so on and so on. And you see that also with the EV market, the first that bought the electric vehicles massively were the companies. And that's what we are targeting also the companies right now for their fleet, for internal motion into the bigger companies, but also for deliveries, or the electrician that has to make some reparation at the customer in the city center, or the people that is selling houses and flats. He cannot use the car in the city center anymore. He cannot park. So some are today using bicycles or e-scooters, but it's still, when it rains, it becomes complicated. And we propose them some new kind of mobility that can also be a kind of support for the own colors of the company for advertising, and so on and so on. And for the private customer, what we propose today is really the B2B2C, so with shared mobility. So this market can test the vehicles today and can be tomorrow the buyers also of this new type of mobility. So that's the strategy.
And you also raised an interesting topic about advertising, so that can also be a thing, because as we see how the chassis
Yes.
is made, it's definitely adaptable. Definitely can do a lot of things.
Exactly.
As I said, kind of with all the LEDs that change colors. Kind of reminds me of the tuk-tuk that you mentioned. It is really
It is a
fun, really
tuk-tuk.
interesting.
It is a
Yeah,
European tuk-tuk, but it's a tuk-tuk, actually.
yeah. It came from your mouth. I didn't want to insult, say,
It
oh yeah,
is. It is.
you build
I
a
have
tuk-tuk.
what we sometimes say. It's not a problem. We want to make the European tuk-tuk, so we adapt the tuk-tuk to a European design, and we make it desirable. Because of course, an Indian tuk-tuk is not so my cup of tea, I would say.
Yeah. And it's a huge success overseas. So definitely makes sense.
This actually leads me to the question I've had in mind for some time. So you said your let's say first target is the B2B market. So absolutely makes sense. And due to the maybe B2B2C market, I mean, you just get, to hit, how to say, two birds with one stone. Uh, so my question would be, where do you see the strongest early demand? I mean, geographically, is it France? Is it Southern Europe? Are you aiming maybe for some specific dense cities, or you're going for some suburban peripheries to prove a use case there? So what's kind of the first entry point you're looking for?
We really noticed Western Europe is the most active market that is really evolving very, very fast. I'm traveling a lot to Paris because my associate is working there, and I'm from Paris, and it evolved so fast the last 2 years, and you already see so many different kind of mobilities that is very specific to Paris. It is the same in London. You see so many new competitors for us, but also new kind of mobilities. That's really impressive. And for now, I think it really starts in the city centers, in the big ones, where seamlessness is really important. I have to be able to go everywhere. Sometimes I cannot use any gasoline engine anymore, so I need something electric. And since it is still 3 to 4 times cheaper to purchase than a than a truck. Many grocery stores, delivery companies are starting to use it because it is just cheaper and better right now. And that's where we will start also. Really, we noticed France, Germany, Netherlands, Switzerland, Belgium, all these countries are ready. With some that are more ready and other less, but they are the biggest one from our point of view. And you have UK and Spain that are coming afterwards, and then I think the rest of the countries. Maybe we didn't study everything. I don't know how is it that in your country. Do you feel that something is changing? That is something maybe you can also tell to our community. I don't know.
Bicycles,
Yeah,
that's definitely a huge thing. Yeah.
yeah. I think now that you ask, there is some changes in Croatia, but not at the scale maybe in France or Germany.
Yeah.
We are very yeah, as a nation maybe inert would be the right word to say. Uh,
Well,
we yeah, a bit resistant to change.
yeah.
It's not just the country. I think it's the people too. But
Mentality.
yeah, it's it's just the way we are wired. Uh, I'd ask you, when you think 3 to 5 years ahead. So let's say 2030. Uh, what's one thing you need to achieve by 2030 that would make you say, yes, we did it, we achieved it? So what kind of thing are you aiming for in the next 5 years?
So first, when more of 1,000 vehicles of our E-ROE is gonna be visible on the European roads, that first most important thing, because we are targeting 600 to 1,000 units per year, 2030. And now what gonna be the way I can say yes, we did it. I think it's not me, our hero alone, but really the whole community of these companies that are trying to reshape the mobility. When such mobility gonna be an evidence and not a new foe anymore. Today you see something like that in the street, you see, it's weird, and I want it to be the normal mobility for tomorrow. The right size mobility for tomorrow. And of course, we're not gonna be alone. We want to do that with everyone that proposes something better, something more better shaped and more sustainable for our daily commutes and for our environment also.
Yeah, so we don't need a 3-ton SUV for a short trip. We can use either E-ROE or any other mobility, right size mobility vehicle. So
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
love that you're not, you're not talking about the rest of the market as competition, but as a partner who's,
Sure.
the goal isn't, how to say it, to be the best, but to make a change that's real. So
Exactly.
uh
Exactly.
sure. I mean, it's a nice mindset to have. I think this is the kind of mindset we really don't see that often. When someone's, how to say it, when someone launches a company like you did and has a product like you have, they're often going for, yeah, we just need XYZ, and we're gonna be profitable, we're gonna be with that much market share, we're gonna beat those, we're gonna beat them. No one here is to be beaten. We just, we need new way to move.
Sure. Sure. And a very good example is the small cars, the small micro cars, where very bad scene before the Citroën Ami went out. And actually, the Citroën Amibas, it has been sold a lot of times with high volumes. Actually, that brought a lot of volumes also to all the competitors. So actually, it's a good thing when someone or a company uh, makes a new type of mobility something desirable and acceptable. That is good for everyone, actually.
Yeah, so now maybe even Americans are gonna drive
Yeah.
Amis and
Who
something
knows? Who
interesting.
knows? I've heard
That's
Donald
gonna be
Trump
fun.
was speaking of light mobility recently, so maybe. Maybe it will happen. Who knows?
Yeah,
Well,
we
it
shall see.
seems that Trump loves microcars, so
Yeah. Maybe we'll see,
yes,
it's a Citroen
anything.
Army driving up to White House. That would be a bit of a
That
bit
could
of
be.
a
Yeah, I
interesting.
can't imagine that. I'm
Who
just
knows?
joking.
Jean-Philippe, we kind of exhausted all the questions we have for you today. It was a awesome insight into your company and vision. We have our last segment called lightning round questions, where we
Mhm.
ask you simple questions and you give us even simpler answers. So I will start with the first one. Most underrated trend in light electric vehicles.
I think it's remanufacturing and circular design, as I spoke before. Everyone talks about electrification, ecology, and so on, but very few focus really on making vehicle truly sustainable through the whole life cycle. And I think that should be something in e-mobility that should be discussed a bit more.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. You kind of mentioned
Yeah,
the
exactly.
difference
Yeah.
between recycle and repurposing,
Mm.
remanufacturing. Most overused mobility buzzword. If you can say something other than and then autonomy, because
Oh,
everybody
good.
says autonomy, I think. So we have something different.
I don't know if it has been. Yeah, actually it's a good point. I don't know what all says, but I would say micromobility. It is thrown around everything from scooter to car, but it's not meaning so much. You don't know what is behind of that. And I think what matters is really right size mobility, as I just mentioned before. So the right mobility for the right trip, I would say. So micromobility would be my word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. It is kind of thrown a lot, and without much context, so you don't know what it is kind of referring to. It can be so many things. I think I know the answer to this one, Philip. A city
Yeah.
where E-ROE would shine from day one.
What
Not
would you say?
Paris.
Paris has
No.
to be Paris. No?
Paris is the second city. I would say Amsterdam.
Oh,
I
oh
don't know
crap.
if you've traveled there already, but such microcars or every type of vehicle that has 2, 3, 4 wheels is since day one already authorized to drive on this kind of roads. They just don't have to go faster than 25 kilometers per hour, but you already have this kind of mobility on the cycle lanes. That is quite amazing when you travel there. So I think it, as you said, it will work from day one. And then of course I think Paris and London, these big cities, gonna be the second one that's gonna accept this new type
Awesome.
of
I like that.
mobility.
I like that. I like that answer. A feature you cannot wait to add.
Mm, a big problem on bicycles are the huge time you need when you have to lock your bicycle and to unlock it when you just need 30 seconds to buy your grocery in the grocery store. So we are currently developing a feature, an automated wheel lock that we patent, and will allow a safe and smooth parking and unlocking experience that will make our quadricycle much more easy to use and quick to use. And that is also why people will then faster say, okay, I want to use this kind of vehicle because actually I just have to go in and go away. Just I don't have to lose any time to unlock it. So that's really the feature we want to present as fast as possible.
That's a cool
Awesome.
one.
Get rid of those
One.
ugly bike locks.
Oh yeah.
That would be great. Well, thank you so much, Jean-Philippe. Huge thanks to you and the whole E-ROE team. We hope to meet you in person one day.
Yes,
As we
welcome.
said, from full European production to accessible pricing and design philosophy, that's totally unique for European standards. Built around everyday usefulness, E-ROE shows how the next wave of electric mobility can be practical, local, and genuinely fun. We'll be watching closely as you guys move
Thanks.
towards production, putting your first 100 vehicles out there. And yeah, until next time, stay tuned for more. And yeah, Jean-Philippe, wishing you all the best.
Thanks, Marin. Thanks, Philip. And I'm available on LinkedIn, so you can connect.
Of course.
Absolutely,
Course.
connect to
You'll
John.
stay.
Send him all the ideas, offers.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.